Silence is one of the oldest accomplices of violence, because silence does not deny what happens. It simply makes it invisible. I am a woman. My name is Emma. Today I can speak, but this was not always possible, because throughout history, women's voices were first suppressed and then erased. I am in Rome, the center of splendor, of marble, of power. But this city was not a stage for women. It was a cage. To be a woman in Rome was not to exist as a human being, but as a body. I was a slave. And slavery was not only about labor. Slavery meant that your body belonged to someone else, and women's bodies held a special place in Rome. We were not only made to work, we were used. Service by day, obedience by night. Obedience was not a virtue, it was a necessity. In Rome, enslaved women were sexually accessible to their masters. This was not called a crime, because the law protected the powerful. A woman's consent was never asked, because consent belongs to the free, and we were not free. Rape was not a word in Rome. It was a practice. It had no name, because what has no name cannot be judged. The female body was treated like spoils of war. It was sold, shared, and expected to remain silent. This system, built on women's bodies, was not individual cruelty. It was systematic. Roman law placed the body of the enslaved woman entirely at the disposal of her owner. A man could do whatever he wanted to an enslaved woman. It was considered his right. And torture. Torture was not only used to extract information, it was used to teach obedience. Pain was a tool of discipline. Fear was the insurance of the system. Women were tied up, beaten, starved. And none of this was considered extraordinary, because what was ordinary was the normalization of women's suffering. They did not call me by my name, because names are given to those considered human. I was a body, a tool, a silence. But I realized this: Rome is not just a story of the past. Centuries passed, empires collapsed, marble crumbled, but the mindset still stands firmly in many places. There may be no slave markets today, but women's bodies are still bargaining chips. Today, ownership is expressed in different words: my wife, my girlfriend, my honor. But the outcome is the same. Women today are still sexually assaulted, raped, and most often the perpetrator is someone close. In Rome, enslaved women feared the sound of a door opening. Today, women fear the sound of keys. Home is no longer a refuge. Sometimes it is the crime scene. And every time, the same excuses are repeated. A moment of anger. He lost control. A misunderstanding. It was the same in Rome. Only the language was different. Male violence has always been justified with familiar excuses. A woman's body has either been turned into an object of desire or treated as a threat that must be controlled. Neither is humanity. Today, across the world, tens of thousands of women are killed every year by their partners or close relatives. These numbers are cold, but the reality is warm, bloody, irreversible. Each one is a life, a mourning plan, a sentence left unfinished. When a woman is killed, not only one person dies, a future is buried, and society falls silent for a while, then moves on. That is how it was in Rome. When an enslaved woman died, no one stopped to think, because the system remained intact. Today, the same blindness persists. When you say, "It doesn't concern me," what you ignore grows. Silence is not neutrality. Silence is taking the side of the powerful. I am a woman. I was a slave in Rome. My body was used. My voice was suppressed. But today I am here, and I am speaking. Because history is not only a tale written by the victors, It is the muted scream of those who were defeated. And that scream does not end until it is heard. Let them not die again. Let it not be called normal again. Let it not be hidden as a private matter. Women's bodies must not be sacrificed for the comfort of systems. I am speaking because silence is no longer an option. And you, if you hear this, you no longer have the right to say you did not know. This is not a story of the past. This is a mirror of today. Look, and do not turn your face away. I am here, and I will not be silent.